Hey friends, welcome to the Lead More podcast. I'm your host, John T. Meyer. This is the last Lead More podcast of 2024. How did we get here already? It's crazy. Of course, the Lead More podcast is the show where we help leaders step into their role. I believe the world needs more leaders. I believe you are a leader. And whether you want to wait for permission or somebody to hand you the baton or you're ready to go now, we need you. Like the world needs more leaders, and I want you to be ready when it's time to step up. So in this show, we help you by either extracting the lessons from some of the world's greatest leaders with their tactics, their tools, their frameworks, and their models. Or I tell you about my journey as a leader and how I'm trying to step in and how I'm not waiting for permission and recapping the journey of building businesses and trying to improve myself. So that's the Lead More podcast. And today what I want to do is a solo episode to finish the year. I want to talk to you about my process for how I wrap up an end of the year and plan and prepare for a new year. As a growth-oriented person, goal-setting person, I love this time of year. I get super energized by the flipping of the calendar, by the feeling of a fresh start, by the clean slate of a new year. Not like a resolution guy, but I am a goal guy. And you can, of course, start new goals and habits and desires any day of the week, any day of the year. But it's no secret, the first of the year gives you a launch pad, a boost to get going and to take off. So I'm going to dive in. I have 5 things I'm going to go through today, my 5-step process of wrapping 24 and preparing for 25. Let's get at it. Number 1, just simply review the year. You need to look back before you can look forward. I have to remind myself of this often. I'm usually ready to take off and flip the page on the calendar and go to the new year and just charge forward. And while that's good, that's great energy to capture, we kind of miss the opportunity to learn from the year if we don't look backwards, right? So a lot of that starts either on my iCal, my computer, or sometimes even my phone, just scrolling through. I go back to January of 24 and I scroll through. Where did I go? What did I do? Who did I hang out? What trips did my family take? What conferences or events did I attend? And even sort of taking inventory of who did I meet with a lot and where, and were all those meetings, those weekly meetings, or the time spent here or the effort spent there worth it, right? Just almost go through a time machine. Your calendar can serve as a time machine, looking back on 24 to get a sense of where you've been, how it felt, and just, again, taking yourself through it as you sort of sit back and digest and prepare for 25, you have that taste in your mouth of 2024. Don't lose that taste, whether it was good or a bad year. Reflect on it. So first we got to look back. That's number 1. Number 2, I asked myself some of these reflection questions, and these are borrowed and stolen from other people I follow. A lot of people have their different wrap-up processes, and so I've taken a few, I've created my own. I have 5 questions I ask myself. I want to walk you through these 5 questions. I try to journal them, or at least just sit and think about them. I'll have a nice cup of coffee, sit and just, those days kind of between Christmas and New Year's and just reflect. And these are the 5 questions I ask myself. Number 1, what did I learn this year? What things do I know now that I didn't know a year ago? Or what maybe hard lessons did I learn the hard way by what was I taught by life, business, family, being a dad, being a husband, being a son, an entrepreneur? So what did I learn this year? Try to take inventory of what we learned so we can codify and really capture. It's not what's taught, it's what's caught. So ask yourself, what did you learn? Number 2, I love this one. What did I change my mind on? I think that's such a sign of a productive, healthy, smart person, is the ability to change your mind, the willingness or openness to understand that you can change your mind, that as you grow up, as you learn, as you expose to new things, your mind may shift. And so ask yourself, what did I change my mind on this year? What do I feel or what do I believe now that I didn't a year ago? And take inventory of those things, because that's powerful stuff. If you change your mind on something, it probably matters. And I think it's important to go through a year and make sure you have an answer to that question. If you change your mind on nothing, I would argue you didn't expose yourself to enough newness, new travel, new places, new foods, new people, new ideas, books, podcasts, documentaries. The goal isn't to like turn everything upside down, but new experiences should stretch your life and stretch your brain, and you might change your mind on things. Number 3, what and who gave me energy? You've heard me on the show talk about my energy audit, where you draw a line down the center of the paper, plus on the things that give you energy, your tasks, your schedule, your to-do list things. I mean, you take an inventory of what those things are, minus on the things that drain your energy. So like look at your calendar and sort them in one of the 2 buckets. So this is sort of in that vein, is what things gave you energy? This could be what activities, what was on your calendar, what events you went to, just what did you do that gave you energy? And then who gave you energy? So who did you spend time with that you should probably spend more time with? One thing I can tell you, I'm knocking on 40, and 2025 is the big year. What I've learned, I think just being a parent, growing up, getting so involved in your kids' lives, the amount of people you spend your life with as you age feels like it shrinks, right? In high school, or in childhood, you're meeting all these people. Everything's new. You're going to new schools. You go to college, you meet new people. You enter your professional life. And then it kind of feels like the curve goes the other way, and your circles shrink a little bit. Your friend group, the amount of time you have with people outside of your immediate family. And while that sounds a little bit sad, it can be really rewarding if you're spending time with those right people. So who are the people that you want to pour more into? Who do you want to go have those coffee and lunch meetings with? Who do you want to travel with? Who do you want to hang out with? And who gives you energy? So what and who give you energy? That's the 3rd question. 4th question, really easy. It's the inverse. So what and who drained my energy? So just like the energy audit, we're doing the flip side. What things did you do that just didn't serve you this year, that took your energy away, that you dreaded when you saw on the calendar, that you just sat around and stewed over, or you worried about, or maybe even the places, like what websites, like hanging out on Twitter, or going to this certain meeting, or going to this event that you feel like you have to go to. If that's draining your energy, take note of that. Maybe get rid of it. Maybe strike it. Take that app off your phone. Don't visit that website. Don't hang out with that friend, because that's the what and the who. So just like I said, if we're spending time with less and less people, we better make sure those people are worth it, right? The time, the conversations, the meetings, the groups, the boards, the events, the teams. Make sure it's the people you want to be with. If they're draining your energy, cut them out of your life. So 3 and 4, what and who give you energy? What and who drain your energy? The 5th question I asked myself, where were my favorite places this year? And that's like when I go back and look at the calendar, what were the places that I just really loved? Where do I want to go back to? And where does it maybe inspire me to go to other places? That's just one of my goals in life, is to see all these amazing, great places, and to be inspired by place, by the outdoors, by Mother Nature, by the artistry of cities and architecture. And so what places really inspired me this year? I like to remember those, the meals that I had, the restaurants we went to, or the certain place that I sat on a bench and had a great coffee with my wife or my kids, like whatever it might be. What were the places kind of capturing those moments and those memories? So those are the 5 reflecting questions, 5 questions. And of course, that's the 2nd step of my 5 steps. So here we go. Number 3. So number 1 was review the calendar, looking back. Number 2 was reflection questions. Number 3, I choose a word for the year. Now this is cheesy, but just serves as my North Star, my theme for the year is a word that I can just put a sticky note next to my computer, next to my bathroom mirror, and it just kind of directs me for the year. So in 2024, I've shared this before, my word for the year was daily. And when you start with that theme, that word then serves as a guidepost for my goals. And I'll talk about that next. But one of my goals this year was to exercise every day of the year, 366 days, 30 minutes every day. No more like qualifications. There was no heart rate maximum or types of weights I had to lift, or just exercise for 30 minutes, regardless of travel, regardless of schedule, regardless of how I felt. If I was sick, every day. And it wasn't even a fitness wellness goal. It was a discipline, habit, sort of mindset goal of committing to something and showing up for yourself every single day. Proud to report, what do we have? Today, we have just about a week left, on pace, going to get that goal done. So the word was daily, and that guided all of my goals. So in this reflection time, by looking back, asking myself these questions, I don't have a hard process in how I find my word. It just sort of comes to me in sort of my mind, my gut, like the things I'm thinking about, my goals for the year, how did this year just went. And so my theme for 2025 is pro. I want to go pro. As an entrepreneur who always has a bunch of new ideas, shiny object syndrome, my tendency is to add, right? Let's do more. Let's do new. Let's go get this new tactic. Let's try that new tool. Let's implement this new strategy. And the truth is, a lot of it is just the daily stuff that I did this year. 3, 4, maybe 5 things that you do every day and you commit to. So I'm actually resisting that temptation for 2025. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because I think I'm on the right path. I think I'm doing the right strategy, but I'm going to ask myself, am I a pro at this? Am I a pro at creating content? Am I a pro at my exercise habits? Am I a pro as a husband and father? And what would a pro do? I know there's no professional husband or professional father, but you get the point. What would someone who's at the top of their game, the habits and rituals and routines and the people they surround themselves and the things they consume, content, food, drink, all the stuff, what would a pro do? And so I'm asking myself, how do I go pro in these areas? And that's my word for 2025, pro. So that's the third thing I do is I set a word for the year. Number 4. So I use that word to set 5 goals across 5 categories, which are personal, professional, and the 3 Fs: faith, family, fitness. So I at minimum have 5 goals. A couple of years I've had like two work ones or 2 personal ones, but one word, 5 goals across 5 categories. Personal goal, that's just meaning me. Professional, meaning work. My faith, whatever that means to you, whatever your faith looks like. My family, so not me, but like my wife, my kids, and my fitness, right? So one goal, 5 categories, set them and execute. All right, and lastly, number 5. Number 5 is I take all this stuff, these 4 steps, and I build what I call the preloaded year. And if you want a copy of this, if you comment on the YouTube video or on Spotify, I can send it to you. But it's a template called the Preloaded Year. I'm a visual person, so it's a visual look at 2025 calendar, horizontal, so January, February, March. So what I like about it is vertically, it's by day. So all the Mondays, all the Tuesdays, all the Wednesdays. And so now I have these goals. I have a theme for the year. That's high level. I have these 5 goals. And then I'm going to build out my year, build out my 2025, pre-plan it. And the best way to describe this exercise, it's that classic. If you've probably heard this at some workshop or seminar, right? If you're trying to plan the year, if you're trying to think through, if you're trying to fill a jar and you pour in all the sand first, all the tiny little pebbles, then you have the small rocks and you have the bigger rocks. If you do it in that order, sand, small rocks, big rocks, it's not going to fit in the jar, right? All the sand fills up the first half, the pebbles start to take space, and then you can't get those big rocks in. They're full. So you have to go in the inverse order. Big rocks first, sprinkle the small pebbles in, and then pour in the sand. And what the sand is going to do, it's going to fill in all the gaps, all the cracks, right? And so that's like the preloaded year. The big rocks are the things I got to do. It's a family birthday. It's that big family trip we've been planning all year. We want to take a big trip abroad next summer. Anchoring those things. It could be a personal event, a marathon you're going to run, your big targeted just events that you've been thinking about, dreaming about. Get those on the calendar, block them, protect them. The next things are those pebbles, those smaller rocks that, could be your parents' birthday, could be an anniversary you want to make sure you hit, could be that conference you love to go to, your mastermind group, the things that you prioritize and value. And you got to get them on the calendar, make sure they're there, make sure you see them, see if there's any conflicts. And then lastly, the sand is all the other stuff, the coffee meetings, the Zoom calls, the reviewing your budget, the soccer practice, all the other things that need to be on there But first, you got to protect the big rocks and the small pebbles, right? So that's the preloaded year. And I color code the different things. I lay it all out visually so I can literally see what the year looks like. I now have that. My virtual assistant has it. So when people reach out to schedule things, I kind of already know when I want to do my big things. When could we put a trip? Let's protect that space. Even if it's not all planned yet, it's sort of like earmarked, right? And that's the preloaded year. And I have it on my iPad. I have it on my desktop. It's on my phone. I can look at it at any time. And you can take that from this preloaded PDF template, actually move it into your Outlook calendar, your iCal, Apple Cal, whatever. So that's the preloaded year. All right, to review. Let's review my 5-step process for wrapping 2024 and planning 2025. Number 1, review the calendar. Look back on the year. How did it go? How did it feel? Number 2, ask myself the 5 reflection questions. Number 3, choose a word for the year. It's your theme, it's your guidepost, it's your North Star for the new year. So when you choose that word, then number 4, I try to set 5 goals, 1 across 5 categories: professional, personal, faith, family, and fitness. 5 goals, 5 categories. And then the last step, number 5, once the goals are set, the word is set, build out my preloaded year, laying out the calendar visually and seeing it so I can protect the things that matter most to me. That's my 5-step process. These final days of 2024, as we're soaking it up, I'm trying to get light. I'm trying to, clear out my inbox, organize my desktop. I need to clean my office a little bit before the year starts. Get yourself some space to clear out, to be able to run fast and hard and make it the best year ever as we head to 2025. I think it's going to be a wild year. I mean that in a good way. I think it's going to be an exciting year, and I can't wait for it. I hope you're excited too. All right, so that's the Lead More podcast, friends. The last episode of 2024. I have some big ideas for the Lead More podcast in 2025. These aren't quite fully formed yet, so it's not going to happen right away in January, but you're going to see some changes over Q1 in 2025 for the podcast, some more content, some different content. And I'll just leave it at that for now as I continue to work through these ideas, but I'm really, really excited. So don't miss it out. Subscribe wherever you listen, Apple or Spotify, and subscribe on YouTube. We hit 1,000 subs in 2024. That was one of my goals, is 1,000 subscribers. We're at 1,100 now. We made it. Thanks to you. If you're watching this, click sub below on YouTube. And as always, friends, take care and be well.